Hi, it's Kiara. I thought this project was pretty neat because we got to interview a bunch of different people and we actually had to think about and pay attention to how they were pronouncing words, which I never usually do. So it was pretty neat. Um, Personally, I say soda instead of instead of pop. Um, I don't know, I don't really drink it and that's just what my parents say. I know a lot of people in Western New York say pop, but I say soda. I say roof with a drawn out F, roof, and oil. Um, some expressions that I use that other people might not use, or probably no one, is that I say mollywop, which is really weird. Like, oh, I'm gonna mollywop you. I'm gonna beat you up. Not that I ever have, but it's just what I say when I'm joking around with my friends. So people are like, what did you just say when I say that? Yeah, who do I think talks differently? I would say pretty much anyone from down south or overseas talks differently to me because I think, like, for example, people from Great Britain, I think they talk way too fast with their accent and I can't understand them. And then I just get overwhelmed the more and more and more I listen to them, the more I get overwhelmed. Um, yeah, so the first person that I interviewed was a random lady that came into Subway because I work there. I noticed she had an accent, so I asked her where she was from, and she told me she was from Georgia. She pronounces roof like roof, kind of a deeper OU sound. I put ROUF, roof. She also says oil, oil, oil. And she told me that her dad says ol. Um, for something that she says that other people have trouble understanding is boil. Instead of saying boil, she says bowl. So when she moved up here from Georgia, she would say she wants to bowl some water, and people had no clue what she was talking about because we have bowls, and she said bowl, and yeah. Um, the second lady I had a chance to interview was a lady from New York City. She's Puerto Rican, and instead of saying roof, she says rough, rough, like a drawn out kind of with the rolly R, rough. She also says oil, oil, like in a high pitched voice, oil. Um, the last person I interviewed was my Nana, who is from southern PA. She says roof like me, but then instead of how I say oil, she says ol. Some expressions that they say in southern PA that I've never heard up here are instead of saying lunch, they say dinner. Oh, I know. Sorry. Yeah, no, that's right. Instead of saying lunch, they say dinner. And then instead of saying dinner, they say supper. And I've never heard anyone in Western New York say it, but all my family in Southern PA says it, so it's interesting. Um, they all pronounce their W's differently than we do too. Like how we would say waterfall or wash, they would say waterfall or wash. Are you going to wash your hands? Are you going to wash your hands? So there's kind of a different pronunciation of the W. My Nana also says commode instead of toilet, which was I've also never heard anyone say. Oh, and this just popped into my head, but when we were kids and we'd want her to do something with us, she'd say after after a bit, but it'd be really quick. Instead of saying like in a little while or something, she'd be like, Nana, do you want to play this board game? And she'd be like, after a bit. Instead of saying, oh, sure, in a little while. I don't know if anyone else knows anyone that does that. Something interesting that I found out while talking about language with my interviewees is that we're all different, even though we all grew up differently. We all have different ways of pronouncing things, but I don't really think it's a reason that you should judge someone, kinda. Which goes to the next question of how might your associations influence the way you communicate with a person who uses this accent or dialect. For like the longest time, I would say before this chapter, if I heard someone not speaking correct grammar or not using correct grammar, I would think they were not very educated or they didn't care about education. But as we saw in the last video that was assigned for homework, you can still be educated and use slang, and it doesn't matter. Like I say, or even just like me, that was kind of like me being a hypocrite, kind of, because with my friends, I joke around and say like mollywop and stuff like that, but when I'm at school, I don't talk like that at all. So it's just kind of, you use different types of language. You use different types of language with the different people you're with. So you can't really judge someone because you don't know what type of their language they're using with you. I don't think this really influenced my video in any way. I think the only way I was influenced was because like I knew the stuff that my nana says that like I don't hear anyone else saying. So it was kind of like once I started thinking about it, I kind of got on a roll with that stuff. But yeah, I don't really think I had like an influence at all. Okay, thank you.